Author Christopher Buckley and America's Book Club host David Rubenstein toured the historic Decatur House in Washington, D.C.
Decatur House is an interesting kind of thing. It's somebody you might have written about because Stephen Decatur was a naval hero. His father had been a naval hero, and he was a naval hero.
He was a significant naval hero.
He was the youngest captain in the U.S. Navy. He became a captain at the age of 25. He then decided, in those days, if you were a great naval hero, you got bonuses, and he used the bonus money to build this house, which was the first house built, residential house near the White House.
Near the White House.
And he built it. It opened in 1818, but then he got in a duel with somebody who had insulted him, or that he had insulted, and he died in the duel. So
they had to fight the duel in Bladensburg, Maryland.
Right.
Because dueling wasn't allowed in the federal district.
So they had the duel, he dies, or they bring him back here and he dies in the house. Then his widow eventually moves out and she leases it to other people, and it became the place where secretaries of state would often rent the house and live there. And then eventually she sold it, and then eventually the family that had it for a long time gave it to the National Trust for Historic Preservation. And now it's used as a center for White House history, but also as a place to have various events like this one.
His wife was said to be one of the great beauties of her day.
Yes, that's what they said.
And she had and who could blame her? I think she had a tragic collapse.
That's right.
After his death.
That's true.
Well, bless her.
And
good for you for
so
keeping this going.
Well, what happened was one of the people who rented the house was a slave owner, and he built slave quarters, and the slave quarters are behind us.
So those were the slave
quarters? Correct.
But this was part of the Decatur House.
Right.
Probably the kitchen. The kitchens were usually off to one side because of the possibility of fire.
Right.
Yeah.
So what they've tried to do, this is really operated by the White House Historical Association, which was created by Jackie Kennedy, 1961. And at the time, it was very controversial to create that, and nobody had done that before. And what they wanted to do was to have a pamphlet that says, here's what the White House is like, here's how we restored it. And the President of the United States, John Kennedy, said, no, we shouldn't do that because it'll look like we're commercializing the White House. It was sold for 50
That was a gentler time.
Yes, 50 cents is what it cost. And it was very difficult to get the President and his staff to agree to it. Finally, they relented. They did it. But President Kennedy did not actually support preserving this as much as you might think, because he actually signed an executive order taking all these townhouses, which were run down, and basically tearing them down, and they were going to be new buildings. After he died, Mrs. Kennedy persuaded Lyndon Johnson to reverse the executive order that President Kennedy had signed, and he preserved all these buildings, so they were restored and so forth, and that's why they're still here.
Well, God bless Jackie Kennedy. She also saved New York's Grand Central Station.
She did.
Who, believe it or not,
Oh, she did.
there were developers who wanted to tear it down. And she and Brendan Gill of the New Yorker magazine organized and stopped it.
She also tried to keep tall buildings from having their shadow on the Central Park, but that didn't work eventually after she passed away. They built those buildings. But you know,
that's what my mother used to call problems of the idle rich.
Right, well, so Jackie Kennedy was hard to believe, but she, you know, we were younger, but she died at just 64 years old.
Yeah, far too soon. She was quite a lady.
So
and this would be Mr. Decatur.
Right.
Yes.
And so what they've tried to do is restore this to, if not the furniture that was here then, furniture that is of that period.
Right. Would that be well, I guess that's a harpsichord.
Right, correct.
Rather than a clavichord. My memory, David, is that he died, they moved him to the ground floor after he was mortally wounded.
Right. And,
do we know which room?
You're standing in it.
One could only have reverence standing in this room. He was it was Stephen Decatur who, in a toast to our country, may she always, be right, but it ended, but our country, right or wrong.
Right. Yes. And he was in 3 wars, the Barbary War and the War of 1812, and then the kind of pseudo-war with the French after the Revolutionary War.
And that was his sword?
I think so, yes.